You know what nobody tells you about trading? The real story isn't about the Lambos, the beach photos with laptops, or the screenshot of a $10,000 day. The real story is about the phase that breaks 95% of people who try this. I'm talking about the dark phase. The phase where you question everything, where your account bleeds red, where you wonder if you're just not smart enough for this. And here's the thing. Every single profitable trader you look up to, they went through it too. Today, I'm going to walk you through this dark phase in excruciating detail, not to scare you, but to prepare you. Because if you know what's coming, you have a fighting chance. If you're serious about trading, grab a coffee, settle in, and let's talk about the phase that separates the dreamers from the professionals. Let's dive in. Chapter 1. The illusion. The dream before reality hits. So let me ask you something. How did you get into trading? Let me guess. You saw something. A YouTube video, an Instagram post, maybe a friend bragging about a winning trade. And it looked easy, right? Buy low, sell high. Read some charts, maybe learn a few patterns, and boom, financial freedom. That's how they sell it to you. And here's the crazy part. In the beginning, it actually feels that way. Maybe you paper trade for a bit and you're hitting winners. Or maybe you jump straight into live trading with a small account and you catch a good run. I remember my first month trading. I turned $500 into $890. I thought I was a genius. I remember sitting there thinking, why doesn't everyone do this? This is literally free money. I started calculating in my head. If I can make 78% in a month, I started doing the compound interest math. In a year, I'd be a millionaire. I'm laughing now, but back then, I was dead serious. This is what I call the illusion phase. Everything feels possible. The market feels readable. You feel like you've cracked some kind of code. You start watching videos about how to quit your job. You start telling people you're a trader. You might even buy a second monitor. But here's what's really happening. You're experiencing beginner's luck in a complex system you don't understand yet. You're making money, but you don't know why you're making money. You haven't been tested yet. The market is a brutal teacher, and it hasn't started teaching you yet. It's setting you up. And most people, they don't see it coming. Because here's the thing about the market. It gives before it takes. It lets you feel successful. It lets you feel confident. It inflates your ego just enough. And then it pulls the rug out. Chapter 2. The crash. When losses become real. So there you are, riding high. You've got a winning streak. Your account is growing. You're starting to believe this is actually going to work. And then it happens. Your first real losing streak. Not just a bad trade, not just a red day. I'm talking about a series of losses that just won't stop. For me, it started with one bad trade, a trade I was so sure about. I went in heavy, too heavy, because I was confident, because I'd been winning. It went against me immediately. But I didn't cut it, because I knew it would come back. It didn't. I held it overnight, woke up to a gap down, lost 30% of my account in one trade. One trade. I remember staring at the screen, feeling physically sick. But here's where it gets worse. Instead of taking a break, instead of analyzing what went wrong, I did what most traders do. I tried to make it back immediately. Revenge trading. You've probably heard the term. I jumped into the next setup I saw, went in even bigger because I needed to recover. Lost again. And again. Within 2 weeks, That $890 account down to $120. I'd given back all my profits and then some. And this is the moment. This is the moment where the dark phase truly begins. Because it's not just about the money. It's the psychological hit. You start questioning everything. Am I stupid? Did I just get lucky before? Is trading actually impossible? Are all those success stories just lies? You feel embarrassed, especially if you told people you were doing this. You feel angry at the market, at yourself, at the gurus who made it look easy. And underneath it all, there's this creeping fear. The fear that maybe you're just not cut out for this. Maybe you don't have what it takes. This is where 50% of people quit. They close their accounts. They tell themselves trading is a scam. They move on. But some people don't quit. And that's where the real dark phase begins. Chapter 3. The grind, the most dangerous phase. The people who make it past the initial crash enter what I call no man's land. This is the longest, most brutal part of the journey. You're not a beginner anymore. You know enough to be dangerous, but you're not profitable either. You're stuck in this middle zone where you're constantly breaking even or slowly bleeding your account. You have good weeks followed by terrible weeks. You learn a new strategy. It works for a bit, then stops working. You change your approach. Same thing happens. It's like you're running on a treadmill. Lots of effort, no forward progress. Let me describe what this phase actually looks like day to day. You wake up. You're anxious about the market open. You have a trading plan. You wrote it last night after watching 3 hours of trading videos. The market opens. Your plan immediately falls apart because the market isn't doing what you expected. You take a trade. It's a small winner. You feel okay. Next trade. Small loser. Still okay, this is normal. Next trade. You break your rules because you see an opportunity that's too good to pass up. It's a bigger loser. Now you're in the red for the day. You feel that familiar tightness in your chest. You have a choice. Stop for the day like you promised yourself you would, or try to get back to green. You keep trading. By the end of the day, you're down more than you wanted to lose. You close your laptop feeling defeated. You tell yourself, tomorrow will be different. Tomorrow is exactly the same. This cycle can last months, for some people, years. And the worst part? You start seeing other people succeed. You see traders on Twitter posting their wins. You see YouTubers showing their funded accounts. And you think, what am I doing wrong? Why can't I figure this out? You buy more courses. You try more strategies. Scalping, swing trading, options, futures. You join Discord groups. You follow alert services. Nothing consistently works. Because here's what you don't realize yet. The problem isn't the strategy. The problem is you. And I don't mean that in a harsh way. I mean, you haven't developed the psychological framework yet. You haven't built the discipline yet. You haven't learned to manage your emotions yet. And until you do, no strategy will save you. This is the phase where trading stops being about charts and patterns and starts being about psychology and self-mastery. But most people don't realize that. So they keep searching for the magic indicator, the perfect strategy, the secret that will make it all click. And they stay stuck. Chapter 4. The Breakdown. Doubting yourself. If you stay in no man's land long enough, you'll eventually hit what I call the breaking point. This is different from the initial crash. The initial crash is a surprise. It's shocking. The breaking point is different. It's the accumulated weight of months or years of struggle. It's the moment where you genuinely don't know if you can keep doing this. For me, it happened about 18 months into my trading journey. I'd blown up 3 accounts by this point. Not huge accounts, but enough that it hurt. More than the money, I'd invested so much time. Hundreds of hours watching videos, studying charts, backtesting strategies. I'd sacrificed social events. Relationships were strained because I was obsessed with figuring this out. And I still wasn't profitable. I remember one specific night. I was sitting in my apartment staring at my computer. I'd just had another losing week. And I just broke down. I'm talking full emotional breakdown. Questioning everything. Questioning my intelligence, my work ethic, my decision-making ability. If I can't figure out trading, what else am I failing at in life? These thoughts spiral, right? And here's what makes this phase so dangerous. You start making really bad decisions. Some people go all in on super risky trades. If this hits, all my problems are solved. Some people switch to gambling-style trading, options with huge leverage, hoping for that one big win. Some people withdraw completely. They keep their accounts open but stop trading. They're paralyzed by fear. And some people, unfortunately, quit right here, right before the breakthrough. Because here's the secret about the breaking point. It's actually necessary. You have to break before you can rebuild correctly. You have to strip away all the ego, all the false confidence, all the illusions. You have to get humble enough to actually learn. Most people can't handle this phase. It's too uncomfortable. They need to feel competent. They need to feel like they're making progress. But trading doesn't care about your feelings. The market will humble you until you're ready to learn the right lessons. And the right lessons aren't about chart patterns or technical indicators. The right lessons are about yourself, about your relationship with money, with risk, with being wrong, with your ego. Until you confront these things, you'll stay stuck. But if you can push through this phase, if you can sit in the discomfort and do the real work, that's when things start to change. Chapter 5. The shift. The moment everything changes. So let's say you make it through the breaking point. You didn't quit. You're still here. Broke, humbled, maybe a little traumatized, but still here. This is when the shift starts happening. And it doesn't happen all at once. It's not like a light switch. It's more like a slow dawn. Gradual, almost imperceptible at first. For me, the shift started when I stopped looking for the perfect strategy. I'd been jumping from strategy to strategy, thinking the next one would be the one. But after my breakdown, I made a decision. I picked one simple strategy. Nothing fancy. Just a basic pullback strategy on trending stocks. And I committed to it for 100 trades. Not 10 trades, not until it stopped working. 100 trades, no matter what. This forced me to stop strategy hopping, but more importantly, it forced me to focus on execution. And that's when I started noticing things. I noticed that my losses weren't random. They had patterns. I noticed I took bad trades when I was bored, when the market was slow and I forced trades. I noticed I traded differently when I was up versus when I was down. When I was up, I was cautious. I took profits too early. When I was down, I was reckless. I held losers too long and went bigger on revenge trades. These seem like obvious things now, but in the moment, when you're in the trenches, you don't see them. You need data. You need to track yourself. So I started journaling every trade, not just the technical setup, the emotional state, how I felt before the trade, during, after, what I was thinking, what I was feeling. And patterns emerged. I realized that my best trades happened when I was calm and patient. My worst trades happened when I was trying to force things or recover losses. I started tracking my win rate, my average winner versus average loser, my performance by time of day. And here's what I discovered. My strategy was fine. It was actually profitable. But I was sabotaging it with poor execution. I was taking too many trades outside my setup. I was letting emotions dictate my decisions. So I made new rules, stricter rules. Maximum 3 trades per day. If I'm down 2% on the day, I'm done. No trading in the first 15 minutes unless it's a clear A+ setup. Journal before taking any trade. Write down why I'm taking it. These rules felt restrictive at first, but they forced discipline. And slowly, things started changing. I started having more green days than red days. Not by a lot, maybe 55% instead of 45%. But over time, that edge compounds. My confidence started coming back. But a different kind of confidence. Not the fake confidence of the beginner who thinks they've figured it all out. Real confidence, based on data, based on self-awareness. I knew my edge. I knew my weaknesses. I knew when to trade and when to stay out. This is the shift. It's not about finding a magic strategy. It's about developing consistency, discipline, self-awareness. It's about treating trading like a business, not a casino. And once you make this shift, the dark phase starts to lift. Not immediately, but gradually. You start seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. Chapter 6. The Climb. Learning to trust the process. Once you've made the shift, you enter what I call the climb. This is where you start building real skill. You're not just surviving anymore, you're actually improving. Your equity curve starts trending upward, slowly, but upward. You have losing days, losing weeks even, but you're trending positive over time. This phase is all about refinement. You're not learning new strategies every week, you're mastering the one you have. You're getting better at reading market conditions. You're learning when to be aggressive and when to be conservative. You're developing feel, intuition, pattern recognition. Let me explain what I mean by feel. When you first start trading, everything is mechanical. If price does X and indicator does Y, then I do Z. But as you get experience, you start noticing subtleties. The way price moves, the volume, the speed of moves. You start feeling when something is off. When a setup looks good on paper but doesn't feel right. This isn't magic. It's pattern recognition based on thousands of hours of screen time. Your brain is processing information faster than you can consciously articulate, and you start trusting that feel. During the climb, you also start developing systems around your trading. Maybe you build watch lists more efficiently. Maybe you create alerts so you're not staring at screens all day. Maybe you optimize your risk management so you can sleep at night. You're thinking long-term now, not how do I make money today, but how do I build a sustainable trading business? You start thinking about taxes, record keeping, account size needed to make a living. You're not just a gambler hoping for wins anymore. You're a professional building a craft. And here's what's interesting about the climb. It's still hard. You still have bad days. You still doubt yourself sometimes. But it's a different kind of hard. It's not the desperation of the dark phase. It's the challenge of mastery, of pushing yourself to the next level. You start comparing yourself to your past self, not to other traders. You're competing with your own standards, and that shift in perspective is huge. You also start giving back at this phase. Maybe you help newer traders in forums. Maybe you share your journey on social media, not to sell anything, just to help people avoid the mistakes you made. Because you remember how lonely the dark phase was, and you want others to know they're not alone. The climb can last a long time, years even. Because mastery isn't a destination, it's a continuous process. But during this phase, you know you're going to make it. You've proven to yourself that you can do this. You're profitable. Maybe not enough to quit your job yet, but profitable. You have an edge. You have discipline. You have a system. And you're just refining and scaling from here. Chapter 7. The Dark Phase. What every trader must face. So we've walked through the entire journey. The illusion, the crash, the grind, the breaking point, the shift, the climb. But let's talk about the dark phase itself. What is it really? Why is it necessary? And why do some people make it through while others don't? Here's my theory. The dark phase is the market's way of testing your commitment. Trading is one of the most difficult ways to make money. It requires skills that go against human nature. Cutting losses while they're small feels terrible. We hate admitting we're wrong. Letting winners run requires patience. We want to lock in profits and feel safe. Staying disciplined when you're losing requires emotional control most people don't have. The market doesn't care about your feelings, your bills, your dreams. It's completely indifferent. And the dark phase breaks people who aren't truly committed. If you're just looking for easy money, the dark phase will destroy you. You'll quit. You'll blame the market. You'll call it a scam. But if you're genuinely committed to mastering this skill, the dark phase becomes your education. Every loss teaches you something. Every mistake shows you a weakness to fix. Every moment of doubt forces you to dig deeper and find your why. Why are you really doing this? If your answer is just to make money, it won't be enough. Because there are easier ways to make money. You have to want the challenge, the mastery, the freedom that comes with self-sufficiency. You have to be willing to do whatever it takes to figure this out. And here's the beautiful thing. The dark phase doesn't last forever. Every profitable trader you admire went through it. Some for 6 months, some for 3 years, some for longer. But they all came out the other side. Not because they were special, not because they had some secret knowledge, but because they refused to quit. They stayed committed when it was hard. They did the work when they didn't feel like it. They learned from their losses instead of running from them. They developed discipline when everything in them wanted to chase dopamine. The dark phase is the filter. It filters out people who aren't ready, and it prepares the people who are. So if you're in the dark phase right now, I want you to hear this. You're not broken. You're not stupid. You're not unlucky. You're just in the middle of the hardest part of the journey. And the fact that you're still here, still trying, still learning, that means something. That means you have what it takes. You just have to keep going. Chapter 8. How to Survive the Dark Phase. Let's get practical. If you're in the dark phase, or you know it's coming, how do you survive it? Here are the things that helped me and countless other traders. First, reduce your risk. Trade smaller, way smaller than you think you should. The dark phase is not the time to make money. It's the time to learn. You can't learn if you're blowing up accounts and experiencing emotional trauma. Trade so small that losses don't sting. Second, focus on process, not results. Stop measuring success by daily P&L. Measure success by whether you followed your rules. Did you stick to your plan? Did you manage risk properly? Did you journal your trades? If yes, that's a successful day, regardless of profit or loss. Third, get a mentor or community. The dark phase is lonely. Find people who are ahead of you on the journey, not gurus trying to sell you courses, Real traders who will be honest with you. Community keeps you accountable and reminds you that everyone struggles. Fourth, journal everything. I can't emphasize this enough. Track every trade, every emotion, every thought. Your journal is your map out of the dark phase. It shows you your patterns, your mistakes, your progress. Fifth, take breaks. If you're losing, step away. A day off, a week off, whatever you need. The market will be there tomorrow. Trading while tilted is a recipe for disaster. Sixth, protect your mental health. Trading can be isolating and emotionally draining. Make sure you're taking care of yourself. Exercise, sleep, eat well, see friends. Your mental state directly impacts your trading performance. Seventh, remember your why. Why are you doing this? Write it down. Look at it every day. When the dark phase hits hard and you want to quit, your why will keep you going. These aren't magic solutions. The dark phase will still be hard, but these tools give you a fighting chance to make it through. We've covered a lot in this video. The journey from beginner to profitable trader is not what most people expect. It's not a straight line up. It's a roller coaster with a lot of downs before you get to the ups. The dark phase is real. It's painful. It's lonely. It tests everything you think you know about yourself. But it's also necessary, because trading isn't just about making money. It's about becoming the kind of person who can make money consistently in an uncertain environment. That requires growth, evolution, self-mastery, and you can't shortcut that process. If you're in the dark phase right now, I want you to know something. You're not alone. Every single successful trader has been exactly where you are, doubting themselves, losing money, wondering if they should quit. The only difference between them and the people who failed, they didn't quit. They kept showing up. They did the work. And eventually, they broke through. You can too. It won't be easy. It won't be fast. But if you're committed, if you're willing to do what it takes, you will get there. Keep going. Do the work. Trust the process. And I'll see you on the other side. Thanks for watching. If this video helped you, hit the like button and subscribe for more real talk about trading. Drop a comment below and let me know where you are in your journey. I read every single one. And remember, the dark phase is temporary. Your growth is permanent. Let's get it.